Coach, with so many players getting an opportunity Thursday night against Lafayette, is there anything new that you learned about this group that maybe you didn't know before?
Yeah, we had to find out, who we were in a real game, against somebody other than ourselves. You see us on a consistent basis every single day. You see players make plays, and then you see the adjustments. You see the competitiveness of each matchup, and you're like, okay, well, what's really real when we get out there? So it was exciting to see so many guys get opportunities, and to see, okay, like Cam Petaway, for example. Um, First time he touched the ball in his college career, goes for a touchdown. We're seeing we had 9 guys, I believe, on defense that have all had their first starts. So we wanted to see how disciplined their eyes were going to be, how they would respond under pressure. They responded pretty well for the most part. How well do you tackle? All the fundamental things that we work on day in and day out, you want to see that in real time, and when the lights are on, and against another opponent, a different body with different tendencies. And how do you adjust and make adjustments in real time? Can they be coachable? Can you stay cool under pressure? So it was exciting to see a lot of that this past weekend, and now we have to build on that. This is just a starting point.
So, Coach, after the game against Lafayette, you talked about the offensive game plan being very vanilla, very
Mhm.
basic. Do you expect it to get more complex for them going into this week because it is against the Power Four team against Cincinnati?
Well, we're gonna do what we do. I don't think it was a point of hey, we're just gonna be vanilla because it's a Lafayette. We just didn't have enough information on Lafayette to say, okay, this is what we can scheme up based off of their personnel. It was 9 or so new bodies, or 11 or so new bodies out there, so we didn't know until we had to got in the game. Now, once we saw what we were able to do against them, we were able to make adjustments and able to do certain things schematically to take advantage of some opportunities. Now, with Cincinnati is a little different, or any second week opponent. You kind of have tape on them. You know who they are to some degree. You know the injury report. You know who's going to be in, who's out. You can see it up close and personal on the film, and now you can say, okay, here are our opportunities. Here are our strengths. This is the guy we want to stay away from. This is the guy we want to expose. These are the matchups that we want to try to create. So now we can really build on top of that.
What have you seen from Cincinnati that you've had to prepare for?
Well, what jumps off the tape, number one, is their aggressiveness. They play really hard. Well coached football team. Um, they played Nebraska tough, and that's going to be a great challenge for us across the board. Looking at their defense, they got some a really good front three, front four. A safety, number 9, is really rock solid. He's a fitter in there, a lot of their run support, and he shows up a lot, makes a lot of plays. And they're a situational football team. They know the situations, and they play to that. They get garner up a lot of energy to make those stops and those key downs and so forth. Offensively, the quarterback makes it go. He's has a lot of moxie. He has great deal of experience in this league, a lot of starts. Um, he's uses his legs a lot, and he's a load. He can wear it on the defense. I think you saw that a little bit against Nebraska. So I'm pretty sure they're going to try to get him going in the passing game. Didn't show his arm a whole lot, but it's there. So we have a great challenge for us coming up this week. We're formulating a game plan on all 3 phrases to figure out where we can take advantage of some opportunities, and we know it's going to be a physical fist fight when we go in there on Saturday.
Special teams was so good, but I would like to ask you referred to them as special forces. I'm
hmm
just curious the reasoning, or if there's kind of a backstory behind that.
Well, it's special. I try to make it special, and the special forces is an elite group, and you have to make that group make it count for more. And when you're a 4 core special forces guy, you eat first. It's selflessness. And oftentimes when players look at special teams as like a throwaway play, or you're not of value, you don't play, you're not a starter. And no, the four core special forces units are very special. As you can see, it makes a difference. You have one shot to execute at a high level and change the momentum and the course of the game. And that was evident on Saturday night, the opening kickoff, or a block kick, or a block punt, or down in the ball, flipping the field in terms of position, field position. Those things matter. And when you really emphasize that and shows that, hey, this is a special deal, and you have to be a dude, you got to be a dog to be on special forces, that makes a difference. So we highlight that, we empower that, and we reinforce that for the young guys that aren't making the bus or to get on the depth chart, you have to go through special forces to get on the bus, and then you'll have those opportunities. Again, Cam Petaway. I don't think he dresses out if he wasn't on a starter as a kickoff returner, or on three, or he's three on four on four core special forces units. But he had an opportunity to show out there, and then got some opportunities to play as a running back. So those things matter. And if you want to play on Sundays as a player, especially coming out of this conference, you got to show that you can play on special teams and understand the importance of that. So around here, special forces is something that we hold at a high regard.
You guys played on Thursday, so did Cincinnati, so it was not necessarily an advantage, but you both now have 2 more days to prepare for each other.
Mm-hmm.
How did you use those extra days to prepare for the Bearcats?
We took the day off. Today it was a normal day off in our game week, but we took the day off on Saturday, came in on Friday and used it as a shakeout, looked at the film, graded the film, and put Lafayette to bed, and then began to focus on our opponent. More or less, we spent a lot of time breaking down films as staff to formulate a game plan for our kids coming in today. Did some walkthrough work, but not a whole lot. Didn't delve into the nuts and bolts of it as of yet. We're treating this week as a regular game week, and we really use it as recovery, a chance to get better, a chance to really hone in on the fundamentals, look at what we didn't do well and improve upon that, and look at our strengths and say, okay, how can we build off of those strengths moving forward? So that's kind of how we spent those 2 days of preparation, which was very beneficial for us.
As you looked at that Lafayette film defensively, what was the mindset coming out? It was a good game defensively. Was there frustration about giving up the 1 touchdown?
Anytime you give up points, you're frustrated. But what I was encouraged by was Lafayette got the ball rolling a little bit, got some momentum, got it to a 4th and 4, 4th and goal at the 4-yard line, and that play is dead if we don't lose our eyes. We don't lose the receiver in the back of the end zone. So you almost want to see your defense under pressure situations like that to see if they can answer the call, especially a young defense. And there was no discouragement. There was no hanging of the head. So you learn. You live and you learn. For the most part, that game plan that we had defensively worked pretty well. In the first half, 59 yards of total offense. Gave our offense a chance to really find a rhythm in the first half and try to put points on the board and take control of the game. So you can't be upset that, hey, we gave up 7 points. You say, okay, how can we learn from that? How did the drive start, number one? And that was undisciplined behavior from our defensive end who gave up the edge, who allowed the quarterback to roll out the pocket and got the ball rolling for them. They found some momentum, and then a couple of key plays here, then a penalty here, gave them more field position, and that's how you got in that position. So if you can eliminate the mental errors, you can eliminate the penalties because of discipline, lack of discipline, you have a much better series. So those things you look forward to looking at the so-called setbacks or failures to say, how can we learn and get better from it?
Coach, just given this program's success the last couple of years against power conference opponents, look like Penn State and Texas A&M last year, like just how big of an opportunity is this, and how much are the guys really embracing, playing in an atmosphere and a team like power forward team like Cincy?
Well, we look forward to playing every single week. Not to give Coach speak. This is the next team on the schedule. In the past, yes, this university, this program has played Power Four schools extremely well. I don't think this is a situation where we are intimidated by it. I think there are some guys on this team that felt like last year they could have won both those games. So, we're looking forward to playing against a quality opponent, one that we know is going to have to bring our best selves to this game, this matchup, from a physicality standpoint, from a discipline standpoint, and hopefully we can bring it into the fourth quarter. We have an opportunity to win it. So that's what we're looking forward to. And to a man, I don't think anyone is necessarily overly excited or about having a chance to play. It's another opportunity to play this week, and Cincinnati is the next opponent, and we're going to have to be ready for that.
Got a question from Todd Walker. Just the thinking behind moving some of the guys around on the offensive line and getting a couple of the other offensive linemen meaningful snaps in the game on Thursday.
Moving offensive linemen around?
Yeah, there was little changes. I know Paps moved inside. You had Thomas on the outside. Sanchez got in there.
Well, we felt like there was opportunities to get those guys in. And anytime you can get young guys in this time of year to get them experience, the better, because it's a long season, and you got to find out what you got, especially in the offensive line outside the starting five, what the other rotations look like. Where can guys fit at center, guard? You got some positional players that we recognized in camp, so let's get them in game situations to see how they respond. You want to be able to go 6 to 7 deep at that unit and feel comfortable with that. They're just rotational starters. That's how you have to look at it. And if a guy goes down, who do you plug and play? So when there are opportunities to put guys in those situations to see what they got, especially that they don't have necessarily a lot of game experience, you want to get that, and you put them in situations where you trust that they're going to make the right decision, and we're seeing just that. So that's how you have to develop that unit and grow.
Do we have any more questions? All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. I have a good one. All right.
See you in Cincinnati.
Drew, obviously kind of a run-heavy attack Thursday night, but what did you like from the passing game when those opportunities did present themselves?
Yeah, getting the ball in our boys' hands, look what R.J. Garcia could do with the ball in his hands. And, our tight ends are great players that screen on third down to Jaron Johnson. He's really explosive. Jacob Harris, he has a great catch range. And, all our receivers play hard. They play down the field. They block for each other. They play hard in the run game. So I'm very, very excited for those guys, and I think they're going to have a great year.
How much, to connect with 10 different receivers, is that kind of what you envision with this passing game, or kind of hope going, through the season is, you have a lot of players who have that ability. You might as well try to give them the ball.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's a credit to them, and those guys have worked so hard in camp, and Coach Partridge has done a great job in making sure everyone gets a touch, and those are guys that I could rely on. We're really deep in that room and in the receiving core and tight end room as well, and even all the backs too. So it's a credit to those guys. They've really studied, they've worked hard, and I feel very comfortable with any of those guys out there on the field, and I love throwing them the football.
So many young players made either their first starts or made impacts right away. Look at Cameron Petaway, obviously his first touch, and it's a touchdown. Markel Porter, first touchdown. You've obviously been in their shoes before, but what's it like seeing these really young players, redshirt freshmen, sophomores, contribute right away and really help the team out?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look at Cam Petaway. I mean, he was a guy who came into camp and, he's kind of a little on the quiet side, and he just came in and he worked, and, he worked his way all throughout camp and showed on the very first play. And then in the backfield, he's very patient and hits the hole at the right time, and he's a very good player. And, we got a lot of young guys on the team that are coming up and that could really help us, in the receiving core, in the backfield, at tight end, on defense. They worked extremely hard this whole camp, and Coach George has pushed us extremely hard this entire camp. So, they kind of have no option but to work hard. But they came mentally focused, and these young guys they really push us, and we try to hold them accountable. Something Coach George does is we have a leadership council of about 20 to 25 guys, and it's not only the captains or older vets or whatever. He includes young guys so that they could learn from those meetings, and the culture could stay with them as time goes on. So this culture is incredible. Coach George has done an incredible job with that, and I think it directly translates to the field, and those guys are ready.
Now that you've had some time to look over the film from the first week, what do you guys think are the strengths of the offense going to Cincinnati, and what are you guys still looking to improve on?
Yeah, I think offensively, we played hard, we play physical, and we run to the ball and help block. And Coach George always talks about throwing iron fists, and that's one thing that week one, it was a whole new roster, a whole new, didn't really know what to expect. And so what we tried to go out there and be was physical. And, I think we accomplished that goal. And, like you said, we got 10 different guys the ball in the pass game. And I think it was a great starting point for our offense, and we're going to keep growing.
As you've had a couple of days now to look at the Cincinnati film, what have you seen defensively? They look pretty strong at times against Nebraska.
No doubt. They're a very good defense, very well coached. Their defensive line is incredible. A lot of vets and guys that play really good football. They got great DBs in the linebacking core, and they play disciplined, and they play smart, and they play hard. They run to the football. They stop the run. They drop guys in the pass game. So, they're a very disciplined football team, and they play hard. And, we're going to have to be disciplined ourselves and, play our brand of football, and that's what we're going to do.
With your experience playing with and against Power 4 schools, what is your message to your teammates who maybe haven't gone up against a Power 4 school?
Yeah, it's just another game. It's not just another game. Cincinnati's a very good team, very well coached. It's a very great program and everything. But, we talk about going 1-0 every single week, and whether it's Lafayette, Cincinnati, Toledo, Louisville, Liberty, Ohio, whoever it is, we're going to approach it the same way and approach it extremely hard. We're going to go out tomorrow and practice, probably have a 24-period practice with, a lot of crossover periods and stuff that'll test us. So, Coach George really has an incredible culture and mentality going into each week. And it's kind of, we talk about playing a faceless opponent. And so, whoever it is, we're going to prepare as hard as we possibly can that week. And but at the same time, you got to respect Cincinnati. They're a great team and program. And but, this week we're going to attack it as hard as we can, just like we would any other week.
And as Michael touched on, you guys played a lot of guys Thursday, but specifically offensive line, a lot of different combinations there. What does that speak? Does that speak to the depth of that O-line and the confidence that you could kind of mix and match a little bit?
Yes, sir, no doubt. I think Tunde, Jake Burns, Alex Pageant, Andrew Kilfoyle, and Nate Paps, and then Alexis coming in and helping us, and James Thomas too. Those guys they've gotten a lot of reps in camp, and those are guys that we could sub in and truly rely on. I feel like there's no drop off when those guys go in there and they work hard, and I think it speaks to the depth of the offensive line and Coach Nosal. Coach Nosal is an incredible coach. He prepares the offensive line. He's hard on them, but he's also really close friends with those guys. So he's an incredible coach, and he prepares those guys to be ready to play.
Coach George talked about one of the reasons you guys really rely on the run, and as he called it, vanilla offense, was there just wasn't much film on Lafayette. How do you think that changes things for you guys now having a week of film on Cincinnati to look at them?
Yeah, no doubt. Going into week one, in this day and age, college football, the whole rosters are new, and you don't really have any film of the guys, so kind of stuck to our roots. And now I'm looking at Cincinnati film after a week. Some film from last year. They're, like I said, they're a very good team. They play very disciplined, and they play hard, and they're very talented as well. So, just like any game, you're going to scheme some things up based off their defense, and obviously feel a little better after having some film to look at. But I think we're going to play physical and do what we can after watching the film and scheming them up. Can't give you all the answers right now, but yeah, for week one is kind of odd nowadays because every roster's new. You don't really know the scheme and everything, so it's good to have a little bit of film going into this next week.
Just a little bit ago, Coach George spoke so highly of special teams, which he calls special forces. He just nothing but good things to say about that unit and how important that unit is. Like how important is it to you? Obviously you get a 7-0 lead right off the bat, but like that unit, how important is that for this team?
It's very, very important. Coach Bear, credit to him. Coach Bear is an incredible special teams coach. He has that unit very tight and really relays the importance of special teams in a football game. And, having a kickoff return for a touchdown, whether it's the first play or any play in the game, that's a complete game changer. It changes the flow, changes the momentum. And, that's what special teams can do. And Coach Bear does a great job with that. I saw after that touchdown, I ran right up to him and almost knocked him off the ground and to celebrate with him because he truly cares about his players and the special forces. And I actually saw him yesterday out of the facility. I go, Coach, was that a trifecta? Because he had a punt at the one. He had a kick return for a touchdown, 4 for 4 on field goals. So, shout out Jackson too, our kicker. He played incredible, and our special teams is awesome. And they practice like that during the week with very, those periods are very intense. The guys on the sideline are very locked in. Whoever's on the field, it's not just a break from practice of doing special teams or anything like that. It's very intentional. It's very specific and detailed, and full credit to Coach Bear there and my teammates for going out there and executing. But like you said, having a great special teams is incredible. I think our punter, our kicker, and that entire unit is people that we could rely on all season, and definitely helps out with the offense, definitely helps out with the defense. And I'm very happy that those guys went out there and played the way they did. And again, credit to Coach Bear. He really prepared us there.
MJ, obviously defense was so strong to start off. How good can that unit be? Especially in the secondary as well. Just how much of a strength can the defense be this year?
We're going to be a real problem this year. You guys, we got to see a little bit of it Thursday night, but when we really come together and be able to trust each other, because I know we're going to play fast. I know we're going to play hard. It's all about, we preach relentless effort in that defensive room, every position group. So, when we really get this train going, we're going to be something special.
What's it like seeing some of these, really young guys, like a Kal Pascal, just a sophomore. I think Keon Washington, just redshirt freshman. Like these young guys really stepped into a huge role and excelled. Like, what's it like kind of watching that group?
Watching it is something special. It's something amazing. I seen them in summer workouts. I seen them in camp. I seen the work that they put in. So me seeing them out there and making the plays that they did, it's no surprise to me because I seen the work that they put in, and I'm really proud of those guys, and I'm ready to watch them keep excelling.
Jalen McClendon, obviously a team captain. He was a captain at Tennessee State under Coach George. What has it been like learning from him, and what does he bring when it comes to kind of like a leadership aspect?
Him just as much as myself, we bring experience to that room. Starting in so many games, we just bring like that experience, that leadership role to the group, and it's kind of like the glue that keeps us together as a room. And everything we do is going to be through each other. And so we go as far as, our weakest link, and we're going to be as strong as that. So
talked about the leadership there. What have been some of your pieces of advice to the younger guys going on the road to face a Power 4 team in Cincinnati?
It's just, I tell them, like, it's just like any other game you play. You prepare during the week, you watch as much tape as you can, you put as much work in during the week as you can, and just cut it loose. Don't be afraid to go make a play. Don't be afraid to go make a tackle, go take your shot. I want these young guys to play as free as possible, because when you play free, that's when you're able to make plays and play at your best.
I guess just to close, what was your first experience at Doyle Perry Stadium? Like,
First experience was amazing. I mean, the fans came out, they showed some amazing support, some great love. And I'm happy that we were able to get a win for him. Home opener, season opener with Eddie George's first game. It was great. I just hope that, when we come back, they're going to show that same love and we're going to get them another win. And I thank all the fans for coming out.